I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is the reading of the minutes of the previous council meeting. Members of council have had an opportunity to review these. I will entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Next item on the agenda, communications from the mayor. I do not have anything tonight. Next item on the agenda is zoning matters. We have none. Next item on the agenda is ordinances. Ordinance number 1 is the third and final reading of ordinance number 2019-38. Mr. Stoltz.
Ordinance number 2019-38, rezoning, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and is hereby ordained by authority thereof, Section 1, that the following property owned by Winters Development, LLC, and known as map 0013A02859 Keller Halls Lane, Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, 30742, is hereby rezoned to a C2 special exception zoning. Said property is particularly described in Exhibit A attached to this ordinance. Section 2, if any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect or impair other parts of this ordinance unless it clearly appears that such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part held to be invalid or unconstitutional. Section 3, that this ordinance shall take effect from and after its adoption by the mayor and council. First reading, 9th day of December 2019. Second reading, 13th day of January 2020. Third reading, 10th day of February 2020, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. I have a motion to approve.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Ms. James?
Yes.
Ms. Stinney?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 2, under ordinances, third and final reading, ordinance number 2019-39. Mr. Stoltz.
Ordinance number 2019-39, rezoning, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and is hereby ordained by the authority thereof. Section 1, that the following property owned by Ben Storage, Ransom Incorporated, and known as map 0013A024000133 Keller Halls Lane, Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, 30742, is hereby rezoned to a C2 special exception zoning. Said property is particularly described in Exhibit A attached to this ordinance. Section 2, if any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect or impair other parts of this ordinance unless it clearly appears that such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part held to be invalid or unconstitutional. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect from and after its adoption by the mayor and council. First reading, 9th day of December 2019. Second reading, 13th day of January 2020. Third reading, 10th day of February 2020. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. I have a motion to approve.
Motion, sir.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Ms. Stinney?
Yes.
Ms. James?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 3, under ordinances, third and final reading, ordinance number 2020-01. Mr. Stokes.
Ordinance number 2020-01, rezoning, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and is hereby ordained by authority thereof. Section 1. that the following property owned by Meadows Development LLC and known as MAP 0003C013 1269 Battlefield Parkway, Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia 30742 is hereby rezoned to a C2 special exception zoning. Said property is particularly described in Exhibit A attached to this ordinance. Section 2. If any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect and impair other parts of this ordinance, unless it clearly appears that such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part held to be invalid or unconstitutional. Section 3, that this ordinance shall take effect from after its adoption by the mayor and council. First reading, 13th day of January 2020. Second reading, 27th day of January 2020. Third reading, 10th day of February 2020. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. I have a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Crawford.
Yes.
Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
Ms. Stinnett.
Yes.
Mr. Childs.
Yes.
Ms. James.
No.
Motion carries 4-1. Item number 4, under ordinances, third and final reading, ordinance number 2020-02. Mr. Stoltz.
Ordinance number 2020-02, rezoning, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and is hereby ordained by authority thereof. Section 1, that the following property owned by Jackie Lee Miller, trustee, and known as MAP 0003D056, 1599 Battlefield Parkway, Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia 30742, is hereby rezoned to a C2 special exception zoning. Said property is particularly described in Exhibit A attached to this ordinance. Section 2, if any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect or impair other parts of this ordinance unless it clearly appears that such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part held to be invalid or unconstitutional. Section 3, that this ordinance shall take effect from and after its adoption by mayor and council. First reading, 13th day of January 2020. Second reading, 27th day of January 2020. Third reading, 10th day of February 2020.
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. I have a motion to approve. Last call for a motion to approve. Ordinance number 2020-02 fails for lack of a motion. Item number 5, under ordinances, first reading of ordinance number 2020-03. Mr. Stoltz.
Ordinance number 2020-03, rezoning, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and is hereby ordained by authority thereof. Section 1. Then the following property owned by Hutton Fort Oglethorpe MT LLC and known as MAP 0013B012-004-1409-1417 Deach Road is hereby rezoned to a C2 special exception. Said property is particularly described in Exhibit A attached here to. Section 2. If any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect or impair other parts of this ordinance unless it clearly appears that such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part held to be invalid or unconstitutional. Section 3. Excuse me, Mayor. This ordinance shall take effect from and after its adoption by the mayor and council. First reading, 10th day of February.
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. Item number 6, under ordinances, the first reading of ordinance number 2020-04. Mr. Stoltz.
Ordinance number 2020-04, rezoning, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and is hereby ordained by authority thereof. Section 1, that the following property owned by Daniel K. Sale and known as MAP 0013A01800A portion Battlefield Parkway is hereby rezoned to a planned development mixed-use zoning. Said property is particularly described in Exhibit A attached here to. Section 2. If any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect or impair other parts of this ordinance, unless it clearly appears that such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part held to be invalid or unconstitutional. This ordinance shall take effect from and after its adoption by the mayor and council. First reading, February the 10th, 2020. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. Next item on the agenda is resolutions. We have none. Next item on the agenda, unfinished business. We have none. Next item, reading of the city clerk of any communications. We have none. Next item on the agenda is new business. Item number 1 under new business, proposed approval to purchase HVAC system to service the police area. Mr. Quarles.
The Department of Building, Planning, and Zoning recommends approval of a purchase to replace a 20-ton HVAC rooftop unit from Air Comfort in the amount of $24,798.14. This existing HVAC system servicing the police area has reached the end of its useful life and beyond repair. The unit is original to the building and design was based on 1983 code requirements. This will also move the equipment away from the use of R22 refrigerant, which no longer is allowed.
Thank you, Mr. Quarles. I have a motion to approve.
Motion. Second, sir.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 2 under new business, proposed approval of Catoosa County Board of Education sidewalk easement resolution. Mr. Long.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is requesting the acceptance of the approval for the sidewalk easement along Battlefield Parkway. This will be at the line there, be just east of South Cedar Lane there where the school property starts there for LFO High School. And it'll be Battlefield Primary and also Battlefield Elementary School. Our legal staff has worked on this and got it done with the school boards at the February 4th meeting. The Board of Education approved this. This will be for the multipurpose sidewalk that we're been working on some time with GDOT for project PI 0010676 there along the parkway down to Franklin Drive, I believe, Frank's Lane there, just shy of O'Charlie's. And this is one of the final steps through this hurdle. Plans are to bid this out in June of this year to go out for bid is what GDOT's plan is, and just requesting the acceptance of this approval for the easements.
Thank you, Mr. Long. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion, sir.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Can you give a little idea of where it's going?
Yes, it will like I say, tie into the existing sidewalks there, and it will go up on the detention pond area there in front of the high school.
Okay.
And then it will go up the football field there along the fence where the advertising goes, and then meander down toward
But it's not going to be right on the parkway?
Lakeshore. No, it'll be off of the parkway.
Okay.
And this will be a 10-foot wide sidewalk going along through there. So
it'll connect from the Walgreens sidewalks basically?
yes, when this is completed, you'll be able to go from Barnhart Circle actually all the way to Panera Bread down in that area.
On a sidewalk?
Once it's completed on sidewalks.
This will also encompass the overpass, the little bridge.
Yeah, the bridge, yeah, we're going to do one extra project there at Frank's Lane to go off that. They're going to fill in that low area that's there now, but it will be off of the right of way also, and then tie in there to our walking trail that goes around to the canoe launch. It will tie in there, but that will be an extra project off of this one that we originally was, but the cost was so much that we backed that project up, and we'll just do it in-house without GDOT's help on it. It'll be much cheaper.
Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, I usually don't say anything, but I want to give accolades to Renzo Wiggins and the school board. They took this up very short notice and
promptly passed it without, it just tremendous help to us in that avenue.
Yes.
Yes, sir. We certainly appreciate it. This project's just been hurdle after hurdle after hurdle.
And we've been battling through conference calls with GDOT for probably 8 months to a year about having to go through the federal process, which would have probably cost the city about $10,000 to do the easements and all. So finally in December, I think it was, we finally got them to agree. So it's a government to government, so of doing a IGA or something to get this done between the two without having to go through the federal process. So,
Yes, we certainly appreciate the school board working with us. Hopefully now that we've got some of the regulations and government people out of it, we can get this thing done. It's been, what, 8 years yet?
we got the grant in 2011.
Yeah.
And if all this wasn't completed, and thanks to Robbie and Renzo working on this, as of April 1st, we was going to lose the grant.
Right.
So, I mean, it's a drop dead from GDOT through the federal government on this because it is a federal grant. So yeah, hats off to them for all their work.
Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you.
Item number 3, under new business, proposed approval of local compensation plan update agreement. Mr. Helton.
Mayor and council, this is a agreement that's requested from the Northwest Georgia Regional Commission. As you all know, they have already begun the process of assisting the city and the county with our 10-year required local comprehensive plan update. This is a formality that's requested from the Department of Community Affairs through the Regional Commission that the city enter into this written agreement. There's no cost for this per se. They just would like it formally documented and request the mayor's signature on this agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Helton. I have a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 4, under new business, proposed approval of Walker County SPLOST amount. Mr. Helton.
Mayor and council, it's time for the Walker County to be considering another SPLOST referendum. As they do that, and they need to get some figures in by the end of this week, I understand meetings have taken place with Walker County, and they've established the amount that they are setting for that SPLOST in conjunction with the amounts that they advise Fort Oglethorpe is going to be entitled to. If estimations come through, that's approximately $137,280, then they requested that we provide them a list. We duplicated the same 2 categories that we had in the previous SPLOST. Those categories are water and sewer projects and equipment, and police vehicle or equipment. And those amounts respectively, water and sewer are $95,280, and police vehicle and equipment is $42,000.
Thank you, Mr. Helton. I have a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
Second, sir.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 5, under new business, proposed approval of Walker County SPLOST intergovernmental agreement. Mr. Helton.
Mayor and council, this is formalization or approving formally the SPLOST intergovernmental agreement itself. Walker County has again done their projections. They anticipate that they will be collecting approximately $44 million through the SPLOST. It is going to be a 6-year cycle. They've projected their growth rate at approximately 33%. We have provided them our breakdown. The other cities that are involved in this SPLOST have also provided their breakdowns to Walker County. This is slated, if it's approved by the voters, it does go for election on May the 19th of this year. If it's approved, then it's slated to begin collection in January of 2021. So staff would recommend approval of the SPLOST intergovernmental agreement and transmit this to Walker County this week.
Thank you, Mr. Helton. I have a motion to approve.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Next item on the agenda, city manager's report. Mr. Helton.
Mayor and Council, I'd just like to commend our Public Works Department as they got out on the streets for this weekend snow that we had. At the same time they were battling roadways, they were also battling flooded streets. So they had dual purpose going on. Our law enforcement relayed to us during this event. They also were working hard. That it really surprised us that the entire time during that event, the Fort Oglethorpe City had 0 accidents, which was unusual because everyone else around us was having accidents. Also, during the year of 2019, the police department would like to report that we had, for the first time in many years, 0 traffic fatalities in the city of Fort Oak. That's a good accomplishment. We're trying to get our streets as safe as we possibly can. Wanted to make everyone aware that our offices will be closed on President's Day, Monday, February 17th. However, we will be having a UDC work session that evening, 5 till 7 p.m. Paige Hatley will be coming in town, and we'll be going through some more UDC work. Also this week at 9:30 in the Wednesday, we'd like to invite anybody that would like to come participate with us as we meet with Tina Pinkston and the Clean Catoosa project. Again, it's this Wednesday at 9:30, so we can try to organize efforts to have a good countywide cleanup campaign. Also would like to warn people regarding the weather tonight and tomorrow. Spoke with the EMA director, Steve Quinn, regarding the situation that we're facing out there. We have several areas within our city or immediately surrounding our city that roads chronically have flooding issues. Mack Smith Road, Battlewood Apartments, Lakeview Middle School area, and Boynton Drive are being watched closely right now. This staff and the Emergency Management Agency would all like to make sure we warn people to not drive through floodwater. Turn around, don't drown, as the saying goes. And that's our report, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Helton. Next item on the agenda, city council comments. Mr. Childs.
I'd just like to say thank you to our road department, Mr. Long and his crew. You did an excellent job. Y'all were out early. I think everybody talked to you that morning, but it was pretty slick there early. And then, but y'all got out and did a heck of a job. And everybody was happy. Got a lot of good compliments from citizens. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Childs. Mr. Crawford.
Yeah, I'd just like to agree with Councilman Childs and Chief. Y'all did a great job, and also I'd like to just give a compliment to Chief Helton and Robbie for y'all coming through and working the extra hours while we're going through this transition of the looking for our next city manager. And we appreciate keeping the city going and keeping everything going that Ms. Simpkins had started. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Crawford. Mr. Rogers.
I'll echo that. Thank you, Jeff, for what you did. That was incredible. You did a little too good a job on Gaddis Drive, right, Craig?
Yeah, the little kids were upset.
Supposed to leave that one. But and also on the trails, that's going to be incredible for our city when that's complete. And I know that's been a difficult process, and I'm very thankful that you stuck with it, and you and the school board, and it's incredible. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Mrs. James.
I don't have anything.
Thank you, Ms. James. Ms. Stinney.
Yes, sir. As Chief Manager Helton said, the emergency.cdc.gov wants you to be prepared for severe weather. We are having a lot of severe weather around here. They ask that you check out their site so that you can be prepared. Also want to invite everyone to an Arbor Day tree planting at Honor Park, a tribute to those who serve, this Saturday, February 15th at 9 o'clock. Yes, you may need to bring waders. There may be mud up to our ears, but we are planting trees provided by the state of Georgia, and Senior Forester Joe Burgess will be here to facilitate the tree planting. Also like to invite everybody to participate in Catoosa County Special Olympics fundraiser, which will be Thursday, March the 3rd from 5 until 8 p.m. at our local Chick-fil-A. And ladies and gentlemen, Valentine's is upon us. You're sweethearts, but more than that, This week, beginning tomorrow, February 11th through February 17th, is Random Acts of Kindness Week throughout our whole entire country. So we want to come together and acknowledge those random acts of kindness that we do over and above for no other reason than that's where our hearts and minds are, is random acts of kindness. So I hope we'll hear some great stories about those type of activities this week. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Denny. Next item on the agenda is citizens' petitions and requests. Ms. McKeever with the 6th Cavalry Museum. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Everyone is invited this Thursday, the 13th at 3 o'clock to join us at the University Center Auditorium at UTC, located at 615 Macaulay Avenue, because I have no idea where this place is, but I do know my GPS will get me there. We will be showing the film documentary, The 6888, and it is of major importance to Fort Oglethorpe because this is the only African-American Women's Army Corps unit to be sent over for World War II. While all of their basic training was done at Fort Des Moines, Iowa, they all were brought to Fort Oglethorpe to do overseas training. And so there are several books that these women have written, and they talk about climbing under barbed wire, having the cargo nets to get up and down to make sure they can get on and off the boats, gas mask drills, all of those good things. We are excited that Lincoln Penny did a film about this. And so it is being shown. We want to thank Brewer Media and UTC for making all this possible. The executive director of the film and retired Colonel Edna Cummings will be with us, along with Brian Autry from the Battlefield Park. He's an interpretive ranger. And Beverly Foster, who is the president of the Walker County African American Historical Association. And so when the film is through, they will, we have questions for them to answer. And then UTC is throwing out some refreshments after that. So we have 300 people there. We have been asked if the film will be shown locally in Fort Oglethorpe, and it is our plan to do that. But when Brewer Media and UTC stepped in to say, yes, we'll pay for it, we let them select the location and the time. We also have been given permission to turn the story of the women into school day programs for fifth grade, 8th grade, and the high school. And so the museums, we have an education committee that Ms. Stinnett serves on, along with many other great folks, and we will have their story. And so this, from a tourism standpoint, there is an African-American tourism trail through Georgia, but it pretty much ends outside of Atlanta. It does not come up 75, and now it will, because we have not only the 6888, but also the Civilian Conservation Corps. The Booker T. Washington camp was here, and that was all African-American men during the CCC period. So we have two big opportunities here for tourism and to just make Fort Oglethorpe that much better. So thank you, and if you're able to join us, please come. If not, go on YouTube like Robbie's done. You see all kinds of footage about it. But basically, those 855 women went over to Europe, and they sorted and got delivered 17 million pieces of mail. And they did it in 6 months' time, and they were not accepted. They were not welcomed in their own country, being black and being women. But they went over to Europe, and it was a whole different ballgame over there for them. So it'll be very interesting to see the documentary, and we hope you can join us. Everybody, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Next item on the agenda is executive session. We do not have anything for executive session tonight. The last item on the agenda is adjournment. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Make motion. Motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. This meeting is adjourned.